The spaceship Aurora floated silently in the vast emptiness of space, its sleek frame a stark contrast against the dark canvas of the cosmos. Far below, a distant planet bathed in the dim light of an ancient star beckoned with an almost magnetic pull. The star, once brilliant, now barely emitted enough light to pierce the darkness surrounding it. The planet itself was a swirling mix of shadow and shimmer, a relic of a bygone era. Captain Elena Rho stood at the panoramic window of the bridge, her gaze fixed on the surface of the enigmatic world. The planet's surface was marked by a sprawling city, its intricate structures barely visible through the haze. Towers with peculiar symbols and strange geometrical forms reached up from a sea of rusting metal and crumbling stone. It was a city unlike any the Aurora's crew had ever seen, ancient, alien, and filled with secrets. "Captain, we've picked up a signal from the planet. It appears to be coming from an advanced communication system, but it uses technology we don't recognize," said David, the technical officer, his voice carrying a mix of awe and concern. Elena's eyes narrowed as she studied the readouts. "Connect to the signal and display it on screen," she instructed, her voice steady but her heart racing with anticipation. The screen flickered to life, revealing a holographic projection of a complex array of symbols, numbers, and letters, some of which were entirely unfamiliar. It was evident that the colonists had developed a unique and advanced system, isolated from Earth's influence. The crew of the Aurora, driven by a mixture of excitement and apprehension, prepared for their descent. The anticipation was palpable as the ship began its slow descent into the planet's atmosphere. Every crew member felt the weight of this monumental moment, knowing they were on the brink of uncovering something truly extraordinary. The Aurora touched down gently in an open field surrounded by the skeletal remains of ancient buildings. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, and the ground was littered with remnants of a bygone era. A team of diplomats and researchers disembarked from the landing craft, their boots touching the surface of a world that had remained hidden for centuries. As the crew approached, they were met by a group of colonists. The colonists' attire was a blend of styles that reflected their long isolation and unique environment. Their clothing, adorned with symbols and patterns that hinted at their rich history, was both beautiful and strange to the visitors. The technology visible among them was a fascinating mix of the old and the new, revealing a civilization that had evolved in its own distinctive way. Captain Rho and her team were guided to the heart of the colony, an impressive structure that stood as a testament to the colonists' advanced technological and architectural skills. The building's design was both grand and intricate, reflecting centuries of isolation and innovation. At the center of the gathering awaited the leader of the colony, an elderly man with a long, flowing beard and an air of enigmatic wisdom. His robes were elegant and richly decorated, a stark contrast to the rough and worn appearance of the surroundings. The leader's gaze was steady, his expression a mixture of curiosity and reserved anticipation. "Welcome," the leader said, his voice resonant with authority. "We have awaited this moment for a long time, though we never truly believed it would come." As the words of the leader echoed through the chamber, the Aurora crew realized that this was just the beginning of an extraordinary journey. They were about to delve into the depths of a forgotten world, uncovering the mysteries of a society that had thrived in isolation. The questions of what lay ahead and the implications for both the colonists and Earth loomed large, setting the stage for a momentous discovery. As the first light of the alien sun cast long shadows over the ruins, Captain Elena Rho and her team followed the colony's leader through the labyrinthine streets of the ancient city. The air was filled with a faint hum, the sound of distant machinery working silently beneath the surface. The colonists moved with practiced ease, guiding the newcomers through a landscape that seemed to blend the remnants of a forgotten past with the innovations of an isolated future. The leader, whose name was revealed to be Eldar, led them to a grand hall, its towering archways adorned with intricate carvings and symbols that seemed to pulsate with a subtle energy. The hall was filled with colonists going about their daily tasks, their interactions a seamless blend of tradition and technology. Holoscreens displayed streams of data in languages and formats that the Aurora's crew struggled to understand. Eldar motioned for the group to follow him to a central chamber, where a large, circular table stood surrounded by seats. The walls of the chamber were lined with screens displaying historical records, star maps, and what appeared to be the chronicles of their society. "Please, take a seat," Eldar gestured, his voice calm and measured. "I believe it is time for us to share our histories and learn from one another." As the crew settled around the table, Eldar began to recount the origins of the colony. His voice carried the weight of centuries, and his eyes reflected a deep sadness and pride. Many generations ago, a group of explorers left Earth with hopes of finding new worlds, Eldar began. They arrived here, on this planet, and established what they hoped would be a new home. But something went wrong. A catastrophe, unknown to us, severed their contact with Earth. They were left alone, cut off from everything they knew. The screens behind Eldar flickered with images of the early days of the colony, showing scenes of settlers building structures, cultivating the land, and developing a unique culture. The crew watched in awe as the narrative unfolded, revealing a society that had faced adversity and evolved in isolation. "We have adapted," Eldar continued, "creating our own technologies and systems to survive. Our isolation forced us to innovate in ways that were unimaginable to our ancestors. We developed advanced energy sources, communication systems, and social structures tailored to our unique environment." Captain Rho leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. "And what about your communication with Earth? Was there any attempt to re-establish contact?" Eldar's expression grew somber. "We have tried, over the centuries, to send signals. But with no response, we began to believe that Earth had forgotten us, or worse, that we were lost to history." As the conversation continued, the crew learned more about the technological marvels of the colony. The colonists had developed a form of energy that harnessed the planet's magnetic fields, powering their advanced machinery and preserving their environment. Their medical technology had evolved to extend life and treat diseases in ways far beyond what Earth could achieve. Amid the discussions, a young colonist named Liora approached Captain Rho. Her eyes were bright with curiosity and determination. "I've always wondered about our origins," she said. "The old records are fragmented, and many of us have lost touch with the true history of our ancestors. Can you tell us more about Earth and what happened there?" Captain Rho nodded, recognizing the importance of bridging the gap between the two worlds. "We'll share everything we know," she assured Liora. "But we also need to understand the full scope of your history. There may be more that connects us than we realize." As the day wore on, the crew and colonists worked together, sharing knowledge and exploring each other's technologies. The Aurora's team was astonished by the advancements made in isolation, and the colonists were equally fascinated by the details of Earth's history and current state. In the evening, the crew was invited to a communal feast, where they experienced the flavors and customs of the colonists. The event was a blend of celebration and solemn reflection, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their shared history. The colonists sang songs of their ancestors, and the Aurora's crew shared stories of Earth's past, creating a bridge between the two worlds. As the night fell and the stars emerged in the alien sky, Captain Rho and her team stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The lights of the colony glowed softly, casting a warm, ethereal light over the ruins. For the first time, both civilizations felt a sense of connection and hope. The journey was far from over, and many questions remained unanswered. But for now, there was a shared understanding that this discovery had the potential to reshape their futures in ways they had not yet imagined. The following days on the forgotten planet were filled with a whirlwind of activity. The Aurora's crew and the colonists worked tirelessly to exchange knowledge and understand the implications of their newfound connection. The excitement of discovery mingled with an undercurrent of tension as both sides grappled with the complexities of their histories and the potential future that lay ahead. Captain Elena Rho and her team had been invited to explore deeper into the heart of the colony's advanced infrastructure. Eldar, alongside Liora, guided them to the central hub of the colony's technological operations, a massive underground facility known as the Nexus. The Nexus was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers filled with humming machinery and glowing screens, showcasing the pinnacle of the colonists' innovations. As they descended into the depths of the Nexus, the air grew cooler and the lighting more subdued. The walls were lined with data cores and control panels, all intricately connected by a network of glowing conduits. The facility was a marvel of engineering, reflecting the ingenuity that had allowed the colonists to thrive in isolation. Eldar led the group to a large chamber at the center of the nexus. In the middle of the room stood a towering crystalline structure, pulsating with a soft blue light. The crystal seemed to be the focal point of the facility, its energy emanating in waves that resonated throughout the chamber. "This is the core," Eldar announced. "It is the heart of our technological advancements. It harnesses the planet's energy and powers our entire city." Captain Rho approached the core with awe, examining the intricate patterns of light that danced across its surface. "It's remarkable. This technology is far beyond anything we have on Earth." Liora, standing beside her, explained, "The core was developed from a unique crystalline structure found deep within our planet. It has allowed us to achieve energy efficiency and stability that is unmatched by any known technology." As the crew continued their exploration, Liora took Captain Rho aside. "There's something else you need to see," she said, her voice low and urgent. "We found something in our archives, something that might shed light on why we were cut off from Earth." Liora led Rho to a secure archive room, where ancient data files were stored in a series of large, secure vaults. She accessed one of the vaults, revealing a collection of dusty, old data drives. These were recovered from the early days of the colony. "We recently started decrypting them, but some files are still missing or corrupted." One of the decrypted files was displayed on a holoscreen. It showed a series of logs and reports from the original expedition, including detailed records of the colony's establishment. Among the documents was a disturbing entry, an account of a major system failure and a subsequent loss of communication with Earth. According to these logs, Liora explained, the original colony ship encountered a catastrophic failure shortly after arriving on the planet. The cause was never fully understood, but it resulted in the loss of all communication systems. The settlers tried to repair the damage, but were ultimately left in isolation. Captain Rho's expression darkened as she read through the logs. This failure, it wasn't just a technological issue. It was a severe malfunction that left the colony stranded, and no one back on Earth knew what happened. Liora nodded. "Yes, and we've discovered traces of a strange energy signature in the records. It's possible that something in the planet's environment interfered with their technology." As they continued to examine the data, a new piece of information emerged, an encrypted file marked with a warning symbol. The file's metadata suggested it contained sensitive information about the original mission's objectives and the planet's unique properties. "We need to decrypt this file," Captain Rho said. "It might hold the key to understanding what really happened and how we can ensure that communication is reestablished." Liora agreed, and the two worked together, using both Earth's and the colony's technology to crack the encryption. As the file's contents became clear, they uncovered a detailed report about the planet's magnetic fields and their impact on communication systems. It also included a warning about a mysterious energy anomaly that had been detected but not fully understood. "This anomaly," Liora said, pointing to the report, "could be the reason for the communication failure. If it affects technology on such a scale, it might still be a threat today." Captain Rho nodded, realizing the gravity of their discovery. "We need to address this anomaly before we can safely establish a stable communication link with Earth. It might be causing more than just signal interference. It could be a serious threat to both our technologies." With this new understanding, the collaboration between the Aurora's crew and the colonists took on a new urgency. They began working on strategies to counteract the energy anomaly, combining their technological expertise to devise a solution. The discovery of this anomaly not only highlighted the challenges ahead, but also strengthened the bond between the two civilizations, united by their quest for knowledge and survival. As the days turned into weeks, both the Aurora's crew and the colonists remained committed to their shared goal. The exploration of the Nexus and the deepening of their mutual understanding laid the groundwork for a future where the secrets of the past could guide them toward a more interconnected and hopeful tomorrow. As the collaborative efforts between the Aurora's crew and the colonists intensified, the task of addressing the mysterious energy anomaly became their primary focus. Days blended into nights as teams worked tirelessly in the Nexus, their activities a complex dance of analysis and experimentation. The atmosphere was a mix of tension and determination as both sides strove to understand and neutralize the anomaly that had long eluded them. Captain Elena Rho, along with Liora and a team of scientists from both the Aurora and the colony, had set up a series of sophisticated sensors and diagnostic tools around the core. The goal was to pinpoint the exact nature of the energy anomaly and develop a solution to counteract its effects. One evening, as the team reviewed data from the latest scans, an alert flashed across the screens in the control room. The energy readings had spiked unexpectedly, indicating that the anomaly's influence was intensifying. "Captain, we're detecting a significant increase in the anomaly's energy output," reported David, the technical officer. "It's causing fluctuations in the core's energy field and affecting our instruments." Captain Rho's brow furrowed with concern. This increase in activity could be a sign that the anomaly is becoming unstable. "We need to understand what's causing these fluctuations and how we can mitigate them." Liora stepped forward, her face tense. "We should focus on the historical data we have about the anomaly. There might be patterns or events that could give us clues about its behavior." The team delved into the archived records, seeking any correlations between past incidents and the current surge in energy. They discovered that the anomaly had shown similar fluctuations at certain intervals in the past, but the data was fragmented and incomplete. "It seems like there are cyclical patterns in the anomaly's activity," Liora noted, pointing to the data on the screen. "If we can identify these cycles, we might be able to predict and counteract its effects." As they worked, a sudden alarm echoed through the nexus, signaling a critical failure in one of the core's energy conduits. The lights flickered, and the room was bathed in an eerie, pulsating glow. "What's happening?" Captain Rho demanded, her voice raised over the noise. "It appears that the anomaly's energy is directly affecting the core's stability," said David, his hands flying over the control panels. "We need to stabilize the core immediately or risk a total system failure." The team sprang into action, their coordinated efforts a flurry of activity as they attempted to stabilize the core's energy output. Liora and David worked together to reroute power and recalibrate the sensors, while Captain Rho oversaw the operations and made quick decisions. After a tense few moments, the alarms subsided, and the lights returned to their normal intensity. The core's energy output stabilized, but the team knew this was only a temporary solution. The anomaly's behavior had become more unpredictable, and they needed to find a long-term fix. "We've managed to stabilize the core for now, but this anomaly isn't going away on its own," Captain Rho said, her voice firm. "We need to understand its source and develop a more permanent solution." Liora nodded, her eyes determined. "We have one more lead. There's a remote research facility on the far side of the planet where some of the original experiments on the anomaly were conducted. It's possible that the data stored there could provide additional insights." Captain Rho agreed to investigate the research facility. The team prepared for the journey, knowing that the facility might hold the key to unraveling the mystery of the energy anomaly. They set out in a transport craft, heading toward the distant facility, which lay hidden in a rugged and uncharted region of the planet. The journey to the research facility was challenging, with the terrain becoming increasingly treacherous as they approached. The facility itself was a stark contrast to the advanced city they had seen, an older, more rudimentary structure that seemed to have been abandoned for some time. Upon arrival, the team began to explore the facility. The interior was a maze of dusty corridors and outdated equipment, but they soon found a control room filled with data terminals and storage devices. "This is it," said Liora, as she started to access the old systems. "If there's any data on the anomaly, it should be here." As they sifted through the data, they discovered a series of detailed experiments and reports about the energy anomaly. The research indicated that the anomaly was a naturally occurring phenomenon that interacted with the planet's magnetic fields in unpredictable ways. The original researchers had been working on methods to neutralize or control the anomaly, but their efforts had been interrupted by the communication failure. One particular entry caught their attention: a record of a proposed solution involving a specialized energy shield that could counteract the anomaly's effects. The shield was designed to create a field that would absorb and neutralize the energy fluctuations. "This might be our answer," Captain Rho said, examining the design specifications. "We need to adapt this shield technology to our current systems and implement it as soon as possible. Liora and the team worked tirelessly to adapt the shield technology to the core systems. With the combined efforts of the Aurora's engineers and the colony's scientists, they managed to integrate the shield into the core's energy network. When they activated the shield, the energy readings from the anomaly began to stabilize, and the fluctuations that had plagued the core ceased. The shield had successfully mitigated the anomaly's effects, providing a stable environment for both the colony and the Aurora's crew. As the team returned to the city, they were met with a mixture of relief and celebration. The successful implementation of the shield marked a significant achievement and a new chapter in their collaboration. Captain Rho and Eldar stood together, overlooking the city's illuminated skyline. The sense of unity and accomplishment was palpable, a testament to the strength of their combined efforts. "We've overcome a major hurdle," Captain Rho said, "but there's still much to learn and discover. Our partnership has just begun, and there's a future full of possibilities ahead." Eldar nodded in agreement, his eyes reflecting the bright lights of the city. "Indeed, this is just the beginning of a new era for both our worlds. Together, we can face the challenges ahead and build a future based on mutual understanding and cooperation." The two leaders looked out over the city, knowing that the path forward would be filled with both opportunities and challenges. But for now, they celebrated their success, united by their shared journey and the promise of a brighter future. With the energy anomaly now stabilized, life in the colony began to return to a semblance of normalcy. The Aurora's crew and the colonists took the opportunity to strengthen their collaboration, sharing knowledge and working on integrating their technologies. Yet, amid the progress and optimism, an undercurrent of uncertainty lingered. Captain Elena Rho and Eldar met in the command center of the Nexus, reviewing the latest data and discussing the next steps for their partnership. The screens around them displayed a myriad of information: energy levels, communication logs, and planetary scans. "Our immediate priority is to ensure that the anomaly remains under control," Captain Rho said, her voice focused. "But we should also begin planning for the long-term integration of our technologies and cultural exchange." Eldar nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Agreed. We've made significant strides, but there's something we need to address. Recent scans have detected unusual activity on the planet's surface, patterns that we haven't seen before. It might be related to the anomaly, or it could be something entirely different." Captain Rho's interest was piqued. "What kind of activity are we talking about?" Eldar brought up a series of images and data points on the screens. The patterns resembled faint, shifting shadows on the planet's surface, visible only through advanced scans. "These anomalies are localized and intermittent, but they're becoming more frequent. We're unsure if they're connected to the energy fluctuations or if they signify something new." The data was intriguing, and Captain Rho realized that they needed to investigate further. "We should set up a team to explore these surface anomalies. If there's something new affecting the planet, we need to understand it before it becomes a bigger issue." Liora, who had been working alongside the Aurora's engineers, volunteered to lead the exploration team. "I'll assemble a team of our best scouts and scientists. We'll investigate these anomalies and report back with our findings." The exploration team prepared for their mission, outfitting themselves with advanced sensors and protective gear. They boarded a specially equipped transport craft and set out towards the areas of increased activity, leaving the safety of the city behind for the unknown terrain. As they approached the designated regions, the surface anomalies became more apparent. The shadows appeared to move and shift, creating an unsettling effect. The team landed and began their analysis, deploying sensors to gather data and trying to pinpoint the source of the disturbances. "These shadows don't seem to correspond with any known physical phenomena," one of the scientists noted. "They're behaving as if they're influenced by an external force, but we can't identify it." Liora and her team worked tirelessly, examining the shadows and their behavior. They discovered that the anomalies were creating subtle fluctuations in the planet's electromagnetic field, which seemed to interact with the local environment in unpredictable ways. After several hours of investigation, one of the sensors detected an unexpected signal emanating from beneath the surface. "We've found something," Liora said, her voice tinged with excitement. "There's a source of energy buried deep below. It could be the origin of these anomalies." The team decided to dig deeper, using excavation equipment to access the source of the signal. As they worked, the ground trembled slightly, and a low rumble echoed through the area. The excavation revealed a hidden chamber, its entrance partially obscured by debris. The team carefully entered the chamber, their lights illuminating the dark, ancient space. Inside, they found an array of dormant machinery and crystalline structures similar to those found in the core. The machinery was unlike anything they had seen before, more advanced and enigmatic, with complex symbols and intricate designs. "This looks like an old installation," Liora said, examining the equipment. "It might have been part of an earlier research project or a precursor to the technology we use today." The team discovered a series of data logs and recordings stored within the chamber's systems. As they accessed the files, they uncovered a detailed account of an ancient experiment intended to harness and control the planet's energy anomalies. The experiment had been abruptly abandoned, and the records hinted at a dangerous reaction that had led to the failure and isolation of the original mission. These logs suggest that the anomalies were deliberately created as part of a larger experiment, Liora explained. But something went wrong, and the experiment triggered a series of cascading failures. The team retrieved the data and returned to the city, where they presented their findings to Captain Rho and Eldar. The discovery of the abandoned experiment shed new light on the origins of the anomalies and their connection to the colony's past. "This information changes everything," Captain Rho said, reviewing the data. "The anomalies were a result of an experiment that went awry, and they've been affecting the planet ever since. We need to reassess our approach to stabilizing the planet and ensure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past." Eldar looked concerned but determined. "We'll need to conduct further analysis and develop a plan to address the lingering effects of the experiment. It's crucial that we prevent any further disruptions and secure our technologies." As the team worked to integrate their new knowledge into their plans, Captain Rho reflected on the gravity of their discoveries. The hidden chamber and the ancient experiment had unveiled new challenges and uncertainties, but they had also deepened their understanding of the planet's complex history. The shadows of uncertainty remained, but the collaboration between the Aurora's crew and the colonists had never been stronger. United by their quest for knowledge and a shared commitment to overcoming the unknown, they prepared for the next phase of their journey, one that would require both courage and cooperation as they faced the lingering mysteries of the forgotten planet.